Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Today is Sunday, of course.
And we are shooting episode 4 of our podcast, which we are so excited about, our Women's History Month podcast.
Yay.
And we have had some awesome guests. And today, nothing has changed. We have yet another awesome guest. And our focus today is women in athletics. So I am going to let Alesheia introduce our guest.
So today we have Terrika Foster-Brasby, and she's going to tell us all about how she is contributing to athletics. So if you could, soror, she's my soror, if you could please tell us, of course, we now know your name. You could tell us, what you do and basically how you got interested in the field that you're in now.
Okay, well, it's Terrika. So
I say it wrong.
It's okay because everybody says Terrika. They think Erica with the T. So I'm like, it's okay. It's Terrika. I have been in sports. I am in the sports field for a long time. All my life, I was an athlete. I played softball at St. Aug when I went to school there, St. Augustine's University, right down the street. Falcon Pride.
That's the shirt, y'all.
It's a cute shirt, though. It looks good.
I've always just been something that I've always loved doing. And I used to work at a bar. I used to bartend at TGI Fridays on Wake Forest Road for a long time. I lived in Raleigh for a long time, right?
Wow.
So, when I was there, I would always talk about sports at the bar. That's what people do. They come to the bar to eat wings. They want to have some drinks. They want to watch the football game or the basketball game or whatever. So that was what I would do. I would do that. I would talk to them, mingle and engage. And then one of my coworkers was like, "You really ought to have a job in sports. Like, you really need to be doing something that has to do with that." So I took her up on that. And I just kind of started doing my own blogs, doing my own writing, decided to go back to school to get my master's in journalism. And then I started working for ESPN in 2014. And that's kind of where I've been ever since.
So I remember you, right before you started working for ESPN, it was something you were doing. I think you had like your own show or something. We were voting for you or something. I cannot remember.
Yep.
But I remember that. So
Yes.
I will never forget that.
I was trying to get a spot on Fox Sports Detroit.
Okay.
And so I had like this vote, and it was so crazy because it's funny. Like I always tell people to be your authentic self, right?
Mm-hmm.
No matter what you're doing. And when I look back on that, I was not at all being myself.
Wow.
Right? Like I was taking pictures and posting stuff on Facebook, and I was doing stuff that I thought that Fox wanted me to do in order to like continue to be eligible for this position. And when I think back on it, I'm like, if I had just been, me, kicking it around the white girl, me, it might have turned out differently. But at the same time, I might not have been able to do what I'm doing now, right? So I might have kind of been in that cycle of what they wanted and not necessarily being able to do me and what I want. So I think it all worked out.
And so that's a good transition into being your authentic self, especially being a Black woman, right? In a produced field, right? And ESPN in sports, right? So remember how they dragged, what was her name? Pam
Oliver.
Yes. Remember how they dragged Pam? So how do you, do that, especially when you're on screen, or it seems like maybe somebody's always watching you, right? That's kind of what I hear in the produced area. So tell us about that, especially the emphasis on being a Black woman.
Yeah, there is a challenge with being a woman in any field, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a challenge that definitely comes with being a woman in sports, but there is an additional challenge that comes with being a Black woman in sports. If you're someone that's on screen, you kind of have to worry about, how's my hair gonna look? Are people, it's one of the reasons why, like, I love Jemele Hill. She always wears her hair in braids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's embraced that. There's, Christina, she goes by the bald girl because she is completely bald. And that's what she does, and that's her, and she's embraced it as herself. Monica McNutt is somebody else who comes to mind. She's an ACC analyst, and she wears this really bright, bold red lipstick all the time, and it's just beautiful on her, right? So when you think about appearances, what I love about us is that we're changing the narrative of what's acceptable and what's appealing and what's normal for being a Black woman on sports. You don't have to, look like the status quo of beauty. Do you, be you. If you want to wear dreads, if you want to have a shortcut, if you want to wear pink, like me, I'm a blonde today, red tomorrow, whatever color, whatever wig I pull out the bag, that's the one I'm going with today. You know what I mean? And and that's just, and it's like, if you want me on your show, that's what you're gonna get. So that's something that, we're doing. But outside of the appearances, it's also about the experience. Like we're getting an opportunity to talk about our experiences more. We're getting an opportunity to kind of show, that we're different in a good way, to put our culture on display in a good way. And that's something that feels really good, because it's not something that we've always been able to do.
Right.
Absolutely. You have any questions?
Yeah. So I'm huge for sports fanatic, and I think it's just beautiful to see, and you were able to name off, those other women of color that are also coming into this space. Like we're seeing referees now, we're seeing coaches, just things, it's sad to say that I didn't think I would see, because, we just didn't think about it. So, I mean, it's just amazing to have you here in this space. So do you ever feel like you have the weight of being this Black woman in this space on your shoulders? Do you ever feel like you have to show up and be like, what, I'm representing for all these people who want to come into this?
Yeah, no, you're right. Like there is sometimes pressure you feel, because there aren't too many people that are doing it, and you don't want to be that person. Like we all say that you want to open the door for the next person. And then there's always that little bit of pressure you feel like, if I make a mistake, if I do something incorrect, if I say the wrong thing, I'm going to shut the door and no one else is going to be able to walk through. But I think there's also the respect of, when we're there, we want to bring other people up so that we don't have to worry about the door closing, right? So I usually, my reign is usually mostly in producing podcasts, and what I really love about that is I get a lot of people who hit me up on Twitter or, whatever. And they're like, hey, T, do you think you'll be able to mentor me? And like, personally, I'm like, girl, I'm the wrong person you meet for your mentor. I'm still trying to navigate this thing myself, right? Like, I'm still trying to figure it out myself. But I will never tell another young Black woman wanting a mentor no. I'll never say no.
Right.
Because whatever it is that I'm lacking in and being able to show you or help you, I'm pretty sure I know somebody else who does. And it's a community. Like we have to pull each other up. We have to bring each other in. So anyone who ever comes to me and be like, hey, T, you think you can help me? Can you show me the ropes? I'm always going to say, I can tell you what I know, and what I don't know, we can learn together. But we have to keep continuing to create that space, or else you will always feel the pressure that nobody else is going to be able to do it, because you're not really giving anybody else an opportunity to learn so that they can do it.
Right. I love that community aspect that you were speaking of. When you're in these meetings and you're there, are you the only? Well, I know you're probably the only Black woman sitting in these meetings. Do you ever feel like any kind of microaggressions towards you, or times where they aren't, as responsive to you because you are a woman of color?
I can give you a perfect example. And as much as I want to name drop, because I'm all about that name drop, I ain't gonna do it. But
that'll be T. They'll be like, we turn into TMZ.
Girl, as much as I want to be like, remember that one time when you were right? But no. So I will never forget, this was a couple years ago. I was in a meeting, and we were trying something new, or attempting to try something new on social media. And I've always been into social media. Part of my degree program was in like new media journalism, which is basically social media journalism. It was like, I know this. And aside from what I studied, aside from what I'm doing here at work, I do this all the time anyway. You know what I mean? I'm a soror. I run social media accounts for, like, I know what I'm doing, right? So I made a suggestion for something that we should try. And of course, not only am I the only woman of color in the room, I'm the only woman in the room. So it's just like, hey, I think we should. And I'm a Leo too, right? So I'm not quiet. I'm not one of the, okay, I am not quiet. I'm not timid. I don't walk into the space and feel like I don't belong. Like, I'm loud. You know I'm there. And exactly, right? See,
in charge.
How we do. How we do, right? We're not afraid of the attention. So I'm verbally expressing, this is what we need to do. This is how we can do it. I think this is what will work for us. And it kind of fell on deaf ears. It was like, okay, that's cool. You know, we'll consider that.
Now, did somebody else turn around and say what you said?
3 months later, the white guy, another one of my colleagues, comes to me in an email, says something about something that we discussed months prior. I said, but I said that in the meeting 3 months ago. Nobody listened. The very next monthly meeting, my colleague says the same thing I said. And it was like, oh my God, we should do that. That's wonderful. But my colleague had my back and said, yeah, I thought this was something we should have do when Terrika mentioned it 3 months ago. And not all the time do you have people in the room willing to advocate for you.
Right.
But at the same time, it was like, but I told y'all 3 months ago. Like, what did you miss it? It was a great idea when my colleague, who's a man, who's white, it was cool when he said it. But when I said it 3 months ago, it was, yeah, okay. I was pissed and I was happy at the same time.
Right.
I'm glad that we're doing it, but I'm so mad that y'all like basically ignored me. Like it was one of those things that really kind of turned my motivation to want to do some stuff, because I felt like if I present it, they're going to just ignore it in order for people to understand it. Right. White boy to say it, or else no one's gonna. So it was definitely, it was one of those situations, and I'm sure it's happened on more than one occasion, but that is the one that really sticks out in my mind, because it really upset me that happened like that. It really, like, I was really mad.
Yeah. I think a lot, like that's something I experienced as well. Like well, for me, when it happens, if I say something and people don't, like, somebody else turns around, I'm kind of not as reserved. I'll probably be like, well, you remember on this date, at this time, at this meeting, I said that, and you guys kind of muled over it. So let's just mule over it now, okay? And they're like, calm down, let's mule, I'm like, I am calm. Don't tell me calm. Don't tell me to be calm. Don't tell me to be calm.
Not the angry Black women, calm down.
Right. Angry Black woman. Listen, it is on the shirt today.
It's on her shirt, okay?
It is on the shirt.
We are passionate. Anything but angry. What I told somebody the other day, passionate about all topics. I am Pat, okay? I am passionate about all topics. So, I think it's funny that you said that, because I think a lot of times, sometimes they'll feel like Black women don't have as much to offer. Not even just Black women, but Black people. But sometimes we feel like our ideas will be stolen because we've seen gentrification. We've seen where they took our music and flipped it around and turned it to something else. Or even in athletics, one athlete will do something, and it's like, oh, well, that's, but then somebody else will go do it, and they're like, oh my gosh, did you see that? Play that back. And you're like, bruh.
Oh my God, that happens all the time in sports, because you can see LeBron or Steph Curry or anybody, Draymond Green. I mean, these are guys that I respect, but they can act a fool, cuss out a ref. They can do whatever. Let Serena Williams break a racket.
Okay.
It's passion. It's passion when they do it, but it's classless, and it's disrespectful. There's no love for the game. When it's like, why can't we be passionate?
Right.
Why can't we have that same kind of heat whenever
that brings up a good point. That brings up a good point too, because when Black women are in the field, we don't, like you said, something else like, what do you have in common? My best friend said, what do you have in common with the other people that are in the room? There may be white males in the room. There may be white females in the room. There may be black males in the room, but there will never, ever be a black woman. I mean, there may not be another black woman in the room. So you have at least common, with the other people. Yeah. Right. And it's crazy because it's like, when you go into like a workplace or an environment, it's kind of like nobody wants to be affiliated with a black lady because they're like, she might be ghetto or she might be, be ABW. And you're like, why can't I just be professional? And then, I also went back last week or the week before on TikTok. I saw this girl. She was, because you talked about your hair, different hair colors. And she said, hair color does not make you unprofessional. And I also thought about that as well. Yeah. Especially being, I think in athletics, like I said, they drag Pam, but it's like, you don't understand the struggle that we have. I'm here. I know my stuff. Let's focus on the stuff. Like, don't talk about my hair. Don't talk about, for me, I like to wear different color lipsticks. So, and don't talk about that. Does your computer work? Yes or no? Because we work in tech. So does your computer work? Or you can say, did I say, people, especially when people talk about sports. Was I wrong? Was I wrong? Right. And that's one thing I think about. So especially in your field, like, have you gotten into, especially, are people disrespectful when you're saying all the right things? Sports. This was a travel. The other day I saw something on Facebook, because everything we see on Facebook is true. It was a video. But it was LeBron, and it was a clear travel. I mean, this man had picked up and went on a voyage. I didn't know where he was going. But somebody's like, oh no, that was cut. There's no way he really did that. But really, do people argue with you like you don't know what you're talking about when it comes down to sport? Because I'm passionate about basketball. And people love to try to tell me about basketball. And I'm like, I know my stuff, okay?
You may not have heard of this app called Twitter, but my mentions stay blazing because I have no idea. Like, I literally can breathe on Twitter and someone will be like, no, that's wrong. You're a woman. Like, really? Breathing, it's wrong. Okay. It's like, it's so ridiculous, but social media has absolutely made it easier for people to troll you, to tell you go back to the kitchen, to tell you don't know what you're talking about. Like, people tell me all the time, girl, you need to go back to the kitchen. And I was like, I was never in the kitchen. My husband is a chef. I never
okay.
I never go to the kitchen. And in fact, he kicks me out the kitchen. Please get out the kitchen.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so what do you mean? Like, it's just ridiculous. But yes, all the time there are people who are, and it's ironically my name on most social media platforms is She Knows Sports. So of course there is the, what do you really know? And honestly, it's not as bad as it used to be. I think, and I can say fortunately for me and for some others that we have proven ourselves, and that in itself to me is problematic because I really shouldn't have to prove myself. Right. But I can say that fortunately for me and those in my circle, we have done enough in this industry that we have garnered the respect of our peers. So I don't really care if another fan or someone else comes to me and tells me that they want to argue with me. I'm actually open for debate. I'm open for argument. Like, I'm cool with that. That's a part of sports. It's a part of the game. You want to debate me on who's the greatest ever? Fine, let's debate that. It's subjective. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter. But you won't disrespect me. You won't, call me out of my name. You won't, you won't insult me. You and I can disagree on a sports topic or player or team without you, trying my character or insulting me or insulting my integrity or anything like that. And so that was something that I had to really work on with myself because I'm from Detroit, and instantly I was like, okay, and instantly I was like, I noticed.
Right.
And then my Twitter fingers get itching and I'll be like, let me tell you about, and then I have to delete it like 30 times to come back and just simply say, have a good day.
Right.
Like, that's it. Because my career isn't worth it.
Right.
It's not like, you don't personally know me. It's not worth it. But it is challenging. I think between Arguing with fans who don't want to listen to you because you're a woman speaking on men's sports. That's something else that, you know, you've never played the game. You've never done this before. And I say to people all the time, Greg Popovich never played in the NBA ever. And yet he's regarded as one of the best NBA coaches in the world. So are you gonna tell him he don't know what he's talking about?
Right.
Never played.
No.
Right.
But between that and most recently over the past year, just being Black in America and working in media and having to, you know, reserve what you say, having to be cautious of how you word things, having to, you know that a tweet gone wrong or a post on Facebook gone wrong can instantly turn into a viral message where cancel culture is everything. Like there's so many things you have to be mindful of now that I don't think you were before. But this past year for sure has definitely been challenging to be Black, to be a woman, and to be both.
Right. And that's just, you know, we're really talking to, especially our Black students, you know, we want them to see this and to see you and see, you know, I can do this. I don't have to respond to everything thrown my way because it can come back to bite me. But I can be passionate and be myself and be my authentic true self, and I can still be successful in what I do. So, you know, if you were like giving a message to them, what was something that you would tell them?
Definitely. I honestly think you just kind of summed it up, to be honest, because that's the main thing that I tell anybody. Like, don't sacrifice who you are, your values, what you believe, your morality. Don't do that to quote unquote get famous, or don't do that to, you know, just to you can be successful just being true to who you are. There's a market for almost everything and almost everyone, and there is room for all of us. So you don't have to put another sister down for it. You don't have to drag another person in your field for it. There's room for all of us. Like you don't see, you know, our male counterparts out here having a dog and drag each other to get there because there's room for them and there's room for us too. And I am living proof. You know, I'm nowhere near where I want to be yet, but I am miles away from where I was, and the lessons that I've learned along the way have been extremely helpful. But I've learned those lessons because I've had other people and other women who have poured into me. And so we have to continue to do that. So for any student that's out there, you know, wondering what you need to do or what can you do, continue to work hard, continue to grind. Don't think that the things that you do don't matter or don't count. You working for free, you got an internship, you writing a blog, you doing a video, all of that is experience, and that will help along the way. So continue to do that. If you can find a mentor, they help. Ask questions, that helps. Like there's no dumb question. And again, with social media, you got access to people way easier than you used to. You'd be surprised who'll respond to a tweet or an inbox message or, you know, a DM. You'd be surprised. Like it's crazy. But there's people out there and networks out there that want to help. I'm a member of the National Association of Black Journalists. So definitely find like a professional organization that you can join or, you know, become acquainted with. That will definitely help you, but just be true to who you are. Like, don't, you know, compromise yourself for this business because it will eat you up and you will feel bad at the end that you did it all for nothing. So don't do it. Don't do it.
So I want to shift gears a little bit. Since you do work in athletics, what's your favorite sport?
Oh, that's so tough. Gosh, that is so tough. I don't know. Okay. Probably, favorite sport to watch?
Yes.
Would probably be a tie between football and women's basketball.
Okay, I'll let you have that because you did women's basketball.
Yeah,
you heard what she said.
Shout out to LaToya Pringle. I went to high school with her.
Are you the football?
I am.
She's a football.
I am all football, like all the time. That's what I love. That's what I like to talk. You know.
Yep.
Because when you were talking about those Twitter fingers, my friends like to cyber bully me on, you know. I don't even want to get into that right now because it's all love. We love each other, and I'm open for debate as well. But you know. Yes, football. It's football for me.
Football. Listen, I'm gonna share a secret. It's probably not a secret, but I'm gonna share it anyway, right? I am such a football fan that I have a tattoo of my favorite team. So
there is nothing wrong with that.
Favorite team, man.
My favorite team is the Indianapolis Colts, and I have a Colts tattoo on my leg. So
wow.
You can imagine when people try to talk to me about the Colts, like guys, when they're like, "You don't know football," and I'm like, "Sir."
Right. My favorite sport is basketball, baloncesto. And then I love baseball as well. So
I like baseball too. See, yes, I'm a baseball fan.
It's beautiful. And you said you played softball.
I did. I played softball at St. Aug.
Wow.
So like I love baseball. Baseball is good. That's a cool
But you know what? Even better is you went to a CIAA school. So that's even better. We're gonna try to see if we can get a conversation with the chairwoman of the CIAA. So that's exciting too.
Oh,
so,
yes, Jackie McWilliams.
Yes,
she's amazing.
Yes, I'm excited about that. One thing I did want to ask you is, how did your experience at an HBCU help you within the workplace? I think people see a lot of times that, they try to say, I think the tide is changing. Right now, we have Vice President Kamala Harris, Mm-hmm. We got some respect on that name.
Right.
And then Stacey Abrams and just different people who came from HBCUs, and Chris Paul putting on for HBCUs.
I think LeBron did it the other day as well, or FAMU, just getting the conversation out there. Because, for a long time, they did try to say, you went to a HBCU, you're underqualified. And we both sitting here, all three of us, HBCU grads.
Right. Right.
And stalling the conversation, stopping it all together.
Right.
So,
what are excuses?
Yeah.
What are excuses?
Right.
But, I really wanted to get your input on that, experience at St. Aug, because I love how you're working at the bar, you went back and got what you want, and you were still, going for it. So I just tell us.
Love it. I had the experience of attending more than one HBCU and a PWI, right? So I got all sides of it. I went to, when I first started college, because as we're talking to students, I will tell you, I am one of those who transferred, and I had the experience of transferring, losing credits, all of that stuff. So be decisive.
They need to hear this. They need to hear
stay there, please.
Right.
Stay there, please. But I went to the first school I went to was called Florida Memorial. At the time, it was called Florida Memorial College, but it's Florida Memorial University now. It's in Miami, Florida. It's actually the school where Lift Your Voice and Sing was created. And it was an amazing experience. I call that, if you're, for sports fans, you have like your true freshman and your true sophomore, and then, based on your years, right? So I jokingly call that my true freshman and true sophomore because I was like 18, 19, right? But then I had some family tragedy happen where I had to go home for a couple of years. And when I went home, I decided to go to Wayne State University, which is in Detroit. So my experience from an HBCU to a PWI was instantly noticed. Like when I was at Florida Memorial, I was like, people called me Terrika, people called, or Miss Foster or whatever. When I was at Wayne State, I was student number 0067, whatever my number was. I would walk into the financial aid office, and I was just here yesterday. You don't even remember who I am because you've seen so many people over that time. And even though Wayne State's campus was very open, it was much bigger than Florida Memorial, of course. Wayne State was very open. And so, you know how it is. Most of the Black students still kind of all be together. They'll hang together regardless. But it just felt like, when you're in class, I didn't really struggle, but it was just like, who are y'all? Like, I don't even know y'all. I don't know y'all. Y'all don't know anything about me, because when we leave this classroom, there's really no interaction with any of you guys. And again, as we, spoke on earlier, I'm not quiet. I'm not reserved or late. You know what I mean? Like I'm out there. I'm friendly. Hey, how's it going? So once I knew, maybe my second year into Wayne State, I was like, this is not gonna work. I gotta go. So funny story, I actually took a bunch of states that had HBCUs, and I put them in a Ziploc bag and shook it up. And I pulled out North Carolina, and I said, I'm going to find a school in North Carolina is where I pulled out. That's where I'm going to go. And I picked St. Aug, and I loved my experience at St. Aug. Loved it. Now, granted, because I had transferred, here's why I say true freshman and true sophomore, because by the time I got to St. Aug, I had transferred so many times that my credits didn't come with me. So this was January 2006. I was like 22 years old already. So I was a full adult pretty much.
Right.
But I was like a second semester freshman, first semester sophomore, all over again. So the 4 years I had just spent in college were basically for nothing because none of the credits transferred. And that's a whole different podcast for a whole different story.
Right. Hey, we'll call you back.
Right. Okay. That's a different, but the point of it is though, is that when I got to St. Aug, I kind of felt defeated because I'm like, I have been in school for 4 years already. None of my credits transferred. I'm 21, 22 years old. Everybody else here is like 18, 19. So I'm the old chick on campus. You know what I mean? I'm the old chick on campus. I got a job, everybody else is chilling and hanging at the student center. I got to go to work, So it was an experience that kind of deflated me at first, but because anybody who goes to an HBCU knows they make you feel like family. So there were other students who were like, girl, I go to work too and I stay on campus, or so you're not by yourself, or come study with us, come hang with us. It was like you felt like a family. My teachers knew who I was. I wasn't student number anything. I was Terrika Foster. You know what I mean? I had,
and they got your name right.
And they got my name right. And they got my city right. And the financial aid office knew who I was every time I walked in there because you're in there a lot. You know what I mean? Admission, everyone knows you. If something happens, you're college students, you make mistakes. You make a mistake, people know your character to say, let's not let it happen again. Or whatever. Versus, well, you messed up. This is one strike. You're out. It's just a different feeling. And so from that, I learned to be challenged. I learned that, you have to network. I learned that there are going to be people who are going to look at you and decide that because of the name of the school on your degree, you're not qualified or you don't belong, but you know how to go above and beyond to ensure that you are. And so I don't think that those experiences that, and I know those were not experiences that I received at my PWI. I absolutely got those at my HBCU. And so anyone who would say or think that going to a Black college diminishes anything, it's not. Your Black student union at your white school is not the same.
It's not a PWI.
It is not.
Come on.
Don't tell me that because you hung out with the BSU at your school. No, it's not.
We got the offering plate.
We do have
the offering, and we're gonna say the benediction because this girl is preaching.
I'm telling you, it's crazy. You have not until you have had to go to convocation, and until you have had
Founders Day.
A Founders Day weekend, until you have freaking girl, if you ain't fundraised for your school, honey, you don't understand. You don't understand. And that's why we have so much love and so much pride, because we really have to put on. And it's beautiful to see people now really understanding the how important
magnitude,
Black institutions are, and how much it really does. And when it comes to sports, honestly, I really hope that there are more athletes who choose HBCUs. There are Division I HBCUs, just like there are Division II, just like there are Division III. There are some that are not even in the NCAA. There are some that are NAIA.
Listen, come on, because we have good students. Listen, so of course, we had, we went to A&T. Yes. So we had Terrika Foster and Tariq Cohen, of course, Tariq Cohen. And then there was another guy who went to the Lions. And Lord, I shouldn't have said one name because it sounds like, when you don't say everybody's names like you forgot, and I'm not. It's just, I got mommy brain. But we had him, and then here at Shaw last year or the year before last year, we had a D2 student. So even then, I think that's what people don't realize. If you're good, you're good, and people are not going to miss you. We had Amir Hinton, who he D2. Yes. He went to the draft. He ended up going to who's that? New York Knicks, their G League team, Westchester.
Okay. Yeah.
And so he's doing well though.
Yeah,
but to see like somebody who came to a D2 school and even was able to be eligible for the draft. Well, I mean, you can go to the draft if you want to, but but to even be able to go there shows like if you're good no matter where you are.
People at Shaw should remember Flip Murray. He played in the NBA.
Flip, he's from Philly too. He's from Philly too. So the thing is like, if you're good, you're good. What's the other? Well, so now, Central and A&T, they're making momentum in I follow basketball, so in the basketball field. But even then, track and field, they're doing things in that area too. So, but St. Aug is not to play with when it comes to track and field. Y'all ain't play with when it comes to track and field. Now, I've heard.
So. I mean, that's it though. You make all the great points that, there was Maku Maker, who was the #1 recruit in the nation, and he decided to go to Howard. You know what I mean? So it's stuff like that. Again, we talk about football. I'm a Colts fan. One of my favorite players is Darius Leonard. He's a product of South Carolina State. So there are definitely HBCUs, and anybody who follows sports knows Stephen A. Smith. So you definitely don't have to feel that you're incapable because you went to a Black college. Like we are producing some of the best Black excellence there is and always have. And
it's gonna continue to be that way. Yes. Once we get this recognition, I've been seeing a lot of posts on social media lately about, just how it was a privilege and an honor to go to a HBCU, because I've said this once, I've said it before, like this is the one time we don't have to be the minority. It's the one time where we get to be us. And somebody posted last night, but somebody posted last night, nothing against PWIs, because we're not shaming, but we are an HBCU and we are supporting HBCUs. But they said a PWI is for 4 years. But a HBCU is for life. For life. Like you are always attached to your HBCU or to HBCUs. Like we having our fun little, going back and forth. We can do that.
Right.
We can do that, but you're not gonna come.
But don't be from the outside.
For everybody.
No.
This ain't for everybody.
Please don't.
Because we will come to bat for one another.
Okay.
What you say?
Right. Now who? Now what? Now who? Now what?
Like, excuse me? Yes. We're the same way in Greek culture. We'd be like, listen.
Exactly.
But I wish you would come from one of my D9 brothers and sisters.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Okay. You can't hang from outside the club.
You can't get in. You outside the club. Right. You can't. So exactly.
Yes.
So it's really great to see. I love that the NBA All-Star Game really took all of the proceeds to put towards HBCUs and scholarships, and they even had HBCU students doing some interviews. Like all of that. We need more of that now. I'll be honest. I hate to see that it took people like Breonna Taylor and Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and, Atiana, like there's so many names, Sandra Bland, there's so many names that we have
too many names.
Use. Too many names, right?
Too many
names to fill several t-shirts, and that's a problem, right? So I hate that it took that having to happen for us to cause a scene. Another one, because we've caused many before, but we have to cause some more scenes.
But they were forced to pay attention to it now because they were sitting in the house.
Because you were in a pandemic. So the pandemic and people losing their lives forced you to understand how important Black culture is to this country, that now so many businesses want to put resources behind it. So I appreciate it. I'm here for it. I just wish it wouldn't have taken that for you to understand.
Right. So I hate to switch gears again. She made a very important point. So you actually work in production side as well, right?
Yes, I do both. I'm on the production side and I'm forward facing from like the written side and radio side.
That's awesome. Listen,
that's amazing.
If somebody say if somebody's working in production, they wanted to break in the production field, They do production on their own. They have, their own little, I hate to say own little, I got to stop saying that. Their own hidden but grand production team. How do they move forward? How do they put together a portfolio? What would they do? How would they?
I would definitely put together a portfolio, and I would consider advertising that you do production. And why I say that is because, and it depends on what production you're referring to. So if you're talking about like audio production, I can't speak to television production because that's not my lane. I ain't gonna touch a lane that's not
right.
But in terms of audio production, there is an influx of people who are doing podcasts. There are a lot of people who, like Spotify is even a company that's looking for, new voices and looking for, new producers, because they're looking to get into more original sports podcasts. I know a lot of Spotify and Apple, their products are, streaming what someone else has created. But I know for a fact, Spotify is trying to build its own original portfolio. So consider looking at some of these companies that may be hiring for production or people in their production team. But also, like I said, there are a lot of people, former athletes, if we're talking about sports, former athletes, but even entertainers, actors, actresses, writers. There are a lot of people who want to put together something audio, but don't have the skill or talent to do it. And so those could be people who, if you're advertising, hey, I do podcast producing, or I do audio editing, or I do whatever, you can hire me. These are my rates. That's a way that you can build your portfolio. And, even if let me preface this the right way. I'm not saying work for free. I'm not saying that. I am saying, however, there are sometimes you have to take opportunities that don't always come with a monetary value. And when you look at the grander picture, that's an opportunity you still need to consider. I know everybody want their coin. I'm here for it. Please get your coin. But however, sometimes you might have to take on an opportunity that doesn't necessarily come with a cost, and it's for the better of your career. I ain't saying do it all the time. I don't want nobody coming at me with no unpaid internships. Please don't do that. I'm not saying that. Just saying, understand what's important and know that on occasion you may have to do something for free, but it will make you better.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Because we are working to have something grand here at Shaw. So I can't quite say it yet because we haven't got the thumbs up, but we're working hard for it.
Working hard.
I can't wait.
So,
if people want to, sorry.
I have one more thing, because I know that you also have your own show.
I do. That's what I was leading
into. Takes Two.
Yes.
So you're at season 2, new season 2 that just premiered.
Yep.
So if you could tell us a little bit about your show and how people can access it.
Sure.
Of course, we'll put it in the
bio.
Down below.
Yeah. In the bio, guys. It's in the bio.
Awesome. So Tea Take Two is my blog that is on YouTube, and it can be found on my YouTube channel at Tea Take Two, TEE Take Two, the number 2, TWO. It's a play on words because I actually tried to do a video blog before, but I got super busy and never really put any effort behind it for real. So this was like my second take at that. So that was like Tea Take Two. But the other part of the play on words is that it's a vlog where I give my thoughts and opinions on sports, politics, culture, but I do it in 2 minutes. So because I'm a Leo and I talk too much. So I'm telling myself, you got 2 minutes to get this point across, and that's all you got, girl. If it's longer than 2 minutes, you got to shut up and start over and do it and cut it down. I challenge myself for that. So it's a lot of fun. It just premiered on March 4th. It's bi-weekly right now. So the second episode will be premiering on March 18th, which is coming up Thursday. The first episode is about Renee Montgomery, who purchased, who's now an owner of the Atlanta Dream, which makes her the first WNBA player to also become an owner of a team. So that's exciting. So check it out. Go if you guys
will. We definitely will. And so what we'll do too, the Wednesday is the
17th.
Yeah.
So Well, what we'll do, we'll go ahead and just link your page below. So that way we'll be ready to watch both of them, okay?
Right.
Both episodes. So absolutely. Matter of fact, tonight, before I watch Last Chance U basketball that nobody told me about.
It's so good. Okay.
Don't tell me. I am so hurt. Nobody told me.
I thought she would know. She's talking about
basketball.
That was a shot at me.
People
I
told
thought she
me.
knew.
So the thing is, I watched now as much as I'm not gonna say I don't like football, but as much as I'm learning about football, I love Last Chance U. But I remember they talked about having basketball, and I was like, okay, the pandemic's happening. Basketball season ended so abruptly last year that I was like, so they won't have one, And then it usually comes out in July because I'm a stalker. And when somebody put it on Facebook today, I was like, do what? I thought I had friends. And, but, enough of that.
That's all. Yeah.
We will definitely be watching Tea Takes too. Yeah. And if people want to follow you anywhere else, like Twitter, Instagram, if you want to just tell us what your
handle
is. I had to make sure I say the right thing. What your handle is so we can keep up with all things you.
Absolutely.
Right.
I am at @SheKnowsSports_ on everything.
So okay. Everything.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Although I don't suggest nobody follow me on TikTok. I don't put nothing up there.
Oh yeah, me neither.
But yeah, @SheKnowsSports_ on all social platforms. So yeah.
And so I'm excited because I already follow you, so it don't really matter. But I'm gonna have my daughter follow you because it's something, good to see for a little girl to see. Oh, it's something different out there. But we're gonna watch Tea Takes too.
We are.
So we're excited. You have any other nuggets you want to drop for us? Maybe a last little Tea Takes 2 snippet, a 2 minute,
2 minute
20 seconds, right?
I just want to thank you guys for asking me to come on. I really had a lot of fun, and I appreciate just the opportunity to kind of talk about what's going on in our industry. And I guess the last point would just be like, come on, y'all, we need more beautiful, excellent Black men and women in this industry to help take it by storm. You know what I mean? And so I can't wait to see what the future holds.
I'm excited.
And we just want to give a huge thank you for taking time out today to talk to us, to get your message out, this message out there that is so important. And we know big things are happening for you, and we're just looking forward to seeing the greater things that will be happening. And we'll get to say, we talked to her. We gonna pretend to be cousins and everything.
Right. Well, that's my soror. So she's a wonderful. She's a wonderful.
I will claim.
Yes.
Cousin. Hey, cousin.
Cousins.
Yes.
But thank you.
My soror, because she's a member of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated.
I sure am. I thought when she said greater, I was like, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
But we want to thank you so much. And
that's all we have
today.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, ladies.